All right, guys, so as you can see way over there, we got a hill that's actually pretty good jog up. So I got the cruise set at 65 right here. We're just gonna watch tranny temp, fuel economy, and everything like that. I'm gonna leave this in 10th gear, but I'm gonna go ahead and back this off because there are some curves. I'm gonna go ahead and back this off to 55. And just give you guys an opportunity to see, because everybody says, well, this thing can't slow itself down. Let's see how far and how fast it pushes itself up. Again, we're probably, with the hitch and everything in my truck right now, probably right over 12.5 with the tonneau, the gear and everything like that. Now, we're not talking about the trailer. The trailer's not overloaded because it doesn't have water. We're probably about 500 pounds underneath that. But got the cruise control set because this does cruise control engine braking. And so we're going down a hill. I'm not touching the brakes. We're not doing anything. And you can kind of see right there, I still left it in 10th. I wanted to see if it mitigated it like the 6-speed in the V10. It did its own thing. I very seldom had to shift down. And then we're gonna go up that pretty steep hill over there. Yep, out here in the plains, we still have some great hills. And we're just gonna kind of see what happens here at 55 mile an hour. Can it pull a grade and what the RPMs do? But man, I love being out here in the country. These are my stomping grounds. This is where home is. Eastern Colorado. I'm gonna give Ray, Colorado a shout out. That's where I'm from. So that's where my parents still live. And so yeah, I enjoy coming out here. It's beautiful. The one thing you don't see, a lot of people. I'm cool with that. I'm always around Denver where there's lots of traffic and stuff like that. So let's see how it pulls this hill. I mean, braking wise, I didn't touch the brakes and it kept it right at 55, and I didn't have to limit my gear range. Now, if I was coming down, say a steep mountain grade, you might want to limit that. Again, after 7th gear, those are all overdrives. So let's see what happens at 55, going up a grade. Let's see how hard the Godzilla wants to work. So the engine note didn't really change any. You can see right there we lost maybe 1 or 2 or 3 miles per hour in between those shift points, but that 10-speed works so good at keeping this in the right torque band to where it didn't dog down. And dog down, I mean just kind of shift out and lose that power. And I really appreciate that. Now everybody's like, well, it went up to 4,000. Yes, the V10, all of these gas motors are high revving motors. So none of them are gonna have torque down at that really low range like a diesel. That's where diesels come in, they get their torque down there, and then when they need it, they can hit the boost. But that's okay for this motor to do that, to get up to that 4,000. Now, it should never hit the rev limiter. It should never hit that bounce off point in the red. But all in all, I mean, that hill was pretty decent. I mean, it doesn't look it because you don't think the hills are gonna have, 6%, 7% grades, but they do. And, but all in all, it didn't even lose it. People are thinking, oh, it's gonna go down to 30 miles per hour. Well, it didn't. So now it's 65 up here. But again, when it comes to unfamiliar roadways, I just recommend you doing what you can to keep that speed in check. Enjoy the journey on your way there, guys. You don't have to speed, I can do 80 up the gauntlet. Okay, that's fine, but the mountains are kind of pretty to look at too, so maybe you slow down and not work your truck so hard, not put other people in danger. They have speed limits for a reason. So again, if you're towing in respect to the law and your tow limits and everything like that, I think you're good. But here we are, we're going down another steep hill. Cruise control's locked in, 55. It's keeping itself in 8th gear, keeping us at 55. RPMs are in check. See, I don't mess with this phony baloney shifter unless I actually have to limit the gears. I don't go down to manual mode. I'm sorry, it's not a manual transmission in any respect. Paddle shifters are not real. They're, you know, let the transmission do what it is. Those engineers figured it out pretty good. That's my thought on that. But again, perfectly good, because people are like, well, you're going to use your brakes a lot more in a gas engine. Well, that's not been my experience of late with my Ford product. So, you know, I think, you know, everything can be changed based on road conditions and dictate that. But I think we're doing, you know, pretty good here, not having to touch anything. So again, at 55, we're doing just fine. And again, this is a backcountry, and here's the reason why I slow down in the Eastern Plains. And this is a good, you know, note for just about anybody, is there are a lot of wildlife out here. Not a lot of people. I don't have to worry about little Johnny running across the street getting a soccer ball, but I do have to worry about you know, a 700-pound animal jumping out in front of me and clearing this whole truck out of service along with my camper. So pheasants blowing through your windshield. We got a lot of wild turkeys out here these days. I don't even know. So all right, so you can see up there we got yet another good little jog. So I'm gonna, just for grins, yeah, I'm gonna bump this bad boy up to 65. It's not gonna even get a run at it, and let's see how the Godzilla works at 65 mile an hour going up another grade. Now when we come back this direction, that'll be the next video, you'll probably see the signs where it says this is a steep grade. But you know, this is what most of us will be doing, is we're going to be out here going to the beautiful lakes that are all over the place, and you might go over a mountain pass once or twice, and yeah, this is going to be slower than a diesel, but all in all, as long as it's safe and gets you there, you know, you can save the 10 grand and go on a canoe or rafting trip while you're up in those mountains and spend the money that way. So all right, let's see how she works on this hill at 65. So we basically crested that. There's a little bit of a bump up here, but I mean, all in all, I'm not going to be pulling at 65 up any hills, because you can kind of see it bump to 5K, but it only held it there for a few seconds, but it kept us at 65 miles per hour. I mean, it kept us right there. And there's other dudes out there that are making these videos that are pulling the max. They got the 430, they got the max weight. These days, dudes got big old goosenecks on there, and this Godzilla is straight up working up and down the hills, no sweat. And that's what this motor does. It creates its most power between 4,000 and 5,000 RPM, and those guys are able to show that even with more weight. Because you might be saying, well, come on, you know, you're towing a light fifth wheel. Who cares? I mean, from what most people are saying, is this motor is basically trash. It's written off, has no power. This is night and day difference between the V10 and that I used to have. And I'm not slouching that, because I like it. But I mean, when it comes to, you know, is this just a horrible trash motor? I don't think so, because people are just saying, you know, it won't pull. Well, it does just fine. So for me, I'm gonna back this usually off to, you know, 55 when we're going through this. If I was on the interstate, sure, I'd probably lock it in at the 65, 70 mile an hour. I'm not on any trailer tire these days, especially on a camper tire. I'm not gonna pull 75 mile an hour, because they're just not made well enough. A semi tire on a gooseneck, yeah, sure, those are built well. Those are a super heavy duty tire, but most of the trailer tires on campers and RVs these days are pretty much just really cheap, and during the summer they create a lot of heat with the roadway, and I think it's a bad mix for blowouts and everything like that. So I'm gonna find a place to turn around up here, and then we're gonna cruise back. That was a good 17-mile run. Again, I do have 2,500 miles in the motor, so it's technically ready to pull from Ford standard, but those were some really good hills. Tranny temp is perfect, no sweat there. Water temp, no sweat there. You can see right there that the fuel economy, not bad, 7 miles a gallon. Again, we're going up and down hills. It's getting up in those high RPM ranges. So, you know, it's not a big deal. And then we're gonna come back on the next video and talk about some of my final thoughts of cruising it back. But I mean, right now, I feel very confident in this truck. I think it's really good. Yeah, my power stroke is fine. Again, guys, this is not a diesel, but not better than a gas, or gas is worse than a diesel. This is, think outside the box in the truck you really need for your means and needs and your trailer and whatnot. This is not a Chevy, Ford, Ram thing. This is distinctively for the 7.3 Godzilla, because this is the 7.3 Godzilla. I am not saying that the Chevy 6.6 gas is a dog. I want to get my hands on one so I can actually see how it does. I've had a couple of 6.4 Hemis, like I said, at work. If you watched any of my other videos, I had a couple 6.4 Hemis in the 3/4 tons. Both of them died. One of them was a catastrophic engine failure at 40, going up the I Gauntlet, believe it or not, with a light generator behind it, and it fragged that, and I blocked on the holiday weekend. So I'm not too into grabbing one of those and trying it, because that one's been out there for a while, and I think a lot of people have a good idea of it. However, if I can't get my hands on my uncle to pull with his and do some videos, that'd be great. But again, this is more just about how the Godzilla does and thoughts of it, because price point wise, a gas motor is going to save you so much money. And I don't know if you guys got kids or families or other hobbies, it's a good way to put some of that hard-earned cash back in your pocket if you don't need it. We're going to see you on the next one, guys.